Before I get into the story, a couple changes on Mix Molly. YouTube have just rolled out a new policy of demonetizing videos it deems inappropriate for advertisers. I've had 4 videos demonetized in the last couple of days, including my last video, and I fully expect every one of my videos will be demonetized over the next week or so, which is a complete joke. Almost 99% of my viewers are over 18, with your average age being in your 30s, so we are adults here, we can handle a couple of swear words. Unfortunately, this means I'm gonna have to bleep edit out the profanity in future videos, which is pathetic. I can't stop swearing because I love it, and as silly as it sounds, it's a big part of this channel. I mean, can you imagine this video without the swearing? Try sitting on the couch when you got something to prove. Motherfucking sofa might as well be on fire. I can't even use my favorite phrase. He molly-whopped the frick out of him. Oh, he molly-whopped the jelly beans out of him. Brave new world, guys. Sad state of affairs. But I will be uploading the uncensored videos on Patreon, since I don't monetize those videos anyway. This video's probably already over there. So anyone who appreciates a good old-fashioned F-bomb like I do and wants to see the videos in their unfiltered format, you can check them out over there for as little as $1 a month. On top of that, in light of the impending demonetizations, I really have to increase the output. I mean, I've got 40 soon-to-be worthless videos in terms of ad revenue. So I've decided to add a new format where I discuss current events in brief, hopefully a couple times a week. I kind of want to look at current events anyway because, I mean, there was 3 weeks between the last 2 videos on this channel. I gotta be uploading more often than that. But not every event fits into a grand narrative, so I've been a little bit hamstrung by my own format. Basically, the channel will function as normal. The only difference is that between my usual videos, there'll hopefully be a bunch of other videos discussing current events. At best, it's more content. At worst, you can ignore these videos and the channel will function the same as it always has. The big difference, though, is that there will be beeps or gaps in my videos, which is a disgrace considering the demographics. I'm not making content for children here, but as I've said, you can see the uncensored videos on Patreon. Anyway, the story I want to discuss today is Hunt's recent tirade on Instagram. Great choice for my first video with bleeps, by the way. So, Mark was just replaced by Fabricio Verdum in his upcoming fight with Marcin Tybura, and he was not happy about it. At Dana White, you piece of shit motherfucker. Why you fuckers pull me from the fight? You get another lawsuit, you fuckwit. You can kiss my ass, you bald-headed prick. You put that chicken shit bitch in, get fucked, sucker. Well, there was basically no point reading that out. Mark was pulled after recently detailing the downsides of his long career in fist fighting. I've been fighting since I was a child. Fighting to get out of my circumstances. I used to make $300 a week, struggling to put food on the table. But I have become one of the highest paid fighters in the world. I feel that's destiny. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and if I die fighting, that's fine. I just hope that if it does happen, it will be in an honest and fair competition. The first part of this quote, "I've been fighting since I was a child," is so tragically true in Mark's case. Hunt's entire childhood was a fight. A few months ago, I uploaded this video on Derek Lewis when he was heading into his fight with Mark. And it was all about, Derek's background and his troubled youth. But the reality is, this matchup should have been called the Battle of the Shitty Childhoods. Mark's had it worse than any fighter I've ever heard of. A few months ago, I started reading Mark's book with a view to making a video on it, but it was just a little too sad for me. There's detailed descriptions of some pretty horrific shit. He was big on psychological pain too, my old man. A beating he seemed to particularly enjoy was forcing us onto our knees on the floor in the sitting room, facing out the window at the pear tree, where he'd go and spend time carefully selecting a whooping branch. We'd hope for a new young branch or an old one ready to break, but he'd usually end up with something hefty and durable. Now, in life, but especially as a young child, very often the anticipation of something bad is the worst part of it, and Mark's father knew how to psychologically torture him in the most ruthless f***ing manner. Heartbreaking shit. Hunt also described watching his father die. I kept my eyes on my father. As I stared at the old man, I knew he was going with the devil that day. I also knew there was nothing to be done about it. My father had lived his life, made his choices, and committed his sins. Now he was going with the darkness. Hun is one of the coolest fighters in nightmare situations, and that's no surprise if you look into it. His childhood was a living nightmare. Motherfucker was forged in the fires of hell. But this was obviously not the part of the quote that got him in trouble. It was this next part. My body is fucked, but my mind is still here. I still got my senses about me, and I know what's right and wrong, which is the main thing. Sometimes I don't sleep well. You can hear me starting to stutter and slur my words. My memory is not that good anymore. I'll forget something I did yesterday, but I can remember the shit I did years ago. It's really no surprise the UFC pulled him. I mean, they've been going to serious lengths to clean up the sport's image, and Mark's doing interviews basically outlining the symptoms of CTE. The only way that quote would have been worse is if it trailed off in a state of confusion. It was just a terrible soundbite from the UFC's perspective. But after this outburst, Hunt tried to clarify the situation, feeling he had been misquoted. I spent hours the other day with the doctors. I was cleared to fight. The interview I did with Player's Voice was misquoted. I don't slur my words, and it is a running joke between my wife and me. My memory isn't that great, but who remembers shit they don't wanna? Not good. But Mark ultimately feels he's been pulled as a result of the lawsuit he filed after Brock's failed test at UFC 200. The truth is, the legal case I have filed has caused me to be withdrawn. Now those are two separate issues in my opinion. With regards to the lawsuit, I agree with Mark 100%. I read the documents submitted by Mark's lawyer when the whole thing started, and she did a phenomenal fucking job of putting the case together. I should have made a video about that actually. It's well worth the read, and some seriously damning shit from the UFC's perspective. But in this instance, you can't be talking about losing your fucking marbles and expect the UFC to give you fights. You're a liability at that point. And the fact that he's a litigiously minded fighter with a track record of launching huge, unprecedented lawsuits definitely doesn't help his case. And the quote ends with Mark trying to sweet-talk his way back into Dana's good books. I would have understood if the UFC requested a medical to ensure my safety. However, this is total bullshit. Fuck you, Dana. You've always hated me, you dog. I had planned to do a couple different stories today, but I'll leave it at one. By the way, one thing that came up in the comments of this video is that maybe I wasn't critical enough of the matchups I was predicting, and I agree with that actually. I was a little soft on them. I'm not interested in a trilogy fight right now. Tony's getting fucked, and anyone else fighting for that belt is a straight up joke.